Good morning, folks. This is Deb. I'm not going to keep you too long this morning because I know it's Monday, but there's a couple of points I want to make. Uh, First of all, polls. Now, we're starting to hear a lot about polls now, right? And it's important that we maintain perspective here because polls are really just should be used as a snapshot of that moment and to predict trends, okay? So we can't afford to let polls that are showing now that Kamala Harris is ahead nationwide to make us comfortable, okay? We can't afford that, not in this particular election, okay? And neither can we become depressed by polls that may not be looking so good. Because again, nobody knows who's being polled because that's not revealed to you. And nobody knows how many people are being polled for the most part, okay? There's a lot of unknowns in polling, all right? You know, and then you've got a guy like Nate Silver out there, who's one of the most famous names in polling, talking about who's going to win and who's not going to win. And we find out that he is now funded by Peter Thiel, who is a right-wing billionaire who bought J.D. Vance's Senate seat, essentially. So again, we must keep an open mind on polls. The idea here is to just keep pushing because we need this victory to be a landslide. And there is absolutely no reason why it can't be a landslide. If the Democratic Party voters get out there at 70%, it's a landslide. So you add on to that people who are formerly Republican voters, and we can crush the Republicans at the polls. And that is what we must do to make sure that they can't call anything into question once Donald Trump is defeated, because you know that they intend to do that, all right? Donald Trump himself has already stated he's not accepting the results unless he's the winner. We already know that. That's number one. Number two, last week's vote on the IVF bill, in which only two Republicans crossed the aisle, and that was Lisa Murkowski and Susan Collins, to protect IVF, proved that we don't have a big enough majority in the Senate. We just simply don't, okay? Without the ability to get to 60 votes, we could not even get to the point where the bill could be debated, let alone voted on. So it is clear that, you know, having 51 or 52 Senate seats is simply not enough. We must do better than that. And we know right now that Ted Cruz is on the bubble. We know that Rick Scott is on the bubble. And we must win those seats. I believe that Texas and Florida are in play, and we must push in those areas to see that Ted Cruz is defeated and that Rick Scott is defeated so that our Senate majority can be expanded. There is only one way that we are going to codify Roe v. Wade, and we have to have a big enough majority to suspend the filibuster to get this done. You want Supreme Court reform? You're going to need 60 votes to get anything like that through. To remove a judge, to impeach a Supreme Court justice requires 2/3 majority. We have to have that big a majority to make this happen because the Republicans are not going to cross the aisles to take down a Supreme Court that they constructed for this very purpose. So this is why I'm appealing to people. We are not in a position where we can get comfortable, and we are not in a position where we can be comfortable with eking out another election. We're so close in the Senate that we can't get anything done. We literally gave the House to the Republican Party in 2022. We had a 9-seat lead. Now we're talking about only needing 4 seats to take it back. No. We want to take back the House in a big way, okay? This needs to be a referendum on the Republican Party. It is not just another election. It needs to be a referendum that this party is dead in the water, and the Republicans need to do better. They need to build a new party that doesn't include any of these cretins in it. Absolutely none of them. The only 2 Republicans that were worth having in this party are no longer in this party. They are both voting for Kamala Harris. And they were thrown out by this party for daring to even wanting to look into Donald Trump's actions on the day of the insurrection. So again, I appeal to you. Do not get caught up in polls. Keep pushing for the vote across the board, mostly to Democratic voters. They are the key here. Okay, yes, it's great to have Republicans voting, but if the Democratic Party registered voters got out in ranges of 70%, we wouldn't have to worry so much about the GOP anymore at all. That's my point. And when Barack Obama said, if the Democratic voters would vote at 90%, we'd never have to worry about billionaires or the GOP again, he was right. This is what it takes. You know, you're asked to do this once every 2 years and once every 4 years. It's not that difficult. So again, let's not get comfortable. Let's keep pushing and let's expand the Senate majority. It is key. We don't just have to protect it. Okay, we do. We have to protect guys like Sherrod Brown, John Tester. All those people need to be protected, Tammy Baldwin, but we need to expand it. And we have opportunities now, okay? There are people riding the bubble. So please, get the vote out. That is essential to preserving American democracy now and in the future. I'll talk to you guys later.